You know how in the Bible you always have people communicating with each other. Now, when it comes to David, he seems to be the focal point where he's talking to a bunch of different people. He's being attacked by Saul, and he flees from one YouTube channel to another, from one enemy to another enemy to another enemy, as he's being chased and harassed and threatened by Saul. With Jesus, he moves from town to town, different. He's channeling his energy towards his enemies as well, even his own disciples, because with the book of Judas, well, they were Judas's disciples, and he was following them around with their channels, but he was also being followed. You know how when he says follow me, well, yeah, they were following him, all right, because they were surveilling him. That's how they knew everything about him. That's the only way you can know anything about anybody, by following them around. So he was followed, and he was following. But he was doing it through the only means that he could find to get to know anybody is through their channel. When you're in surveillance, you're able to see people when if you don't know any better, you would think that you're not being watched, or you think that you can. I think there was even a belief with the Muslim faith at one point. I don't know if it's still, if they know any better now, but they thought that if you get in your car and tint your windows and I don't know, whatever, like smoke a cigarette or something, I forget, that God can't see you. So I believe that God can see through your own eyes, and that's how Satan can see through your eyes as well. Your eye. One eye, that's why we have two eyes, so one can see through the other. But when I look at the YouTube platform and I try to figure out the different characters that are being played out, and with the ones that they're representing certain people, even if it's a male person, and then that same male person is talking about a female in the Bible, and then that female seems to be the same spirit of that person that's explaining it at this time, and then that brings the Bible alive, because it's relevant today. So I think back. King David in the Old Testament was someone that had, well, if he was on YouTube, let's look at it like this. If King David was on YouTube, like Stephen, James, Deshaun had claimed to be, then you would have experienced, because I've watched, I probably watched, well, I didn't watch every video. I didn't watch more than his own agents did, because they have to watch every video. But I watched most of them. The only ones I didn't watch was when it was so much harassment from him to me video after video after video after video of robbing this, robbing that, robbing. There was a point in time where for a couple months straight, if he made 200 videos, 199 of them were about me, and I maybe watched 100 of them because I just couldn't stomach how this one person made me feel like he was the devil himself. And I was so sickened that he even had my number. And it was like, what am I even getting myself into? This dude's now stalking me and harassing me, and so I blocked him on my phone, but yet he's still doing videos, and I finally realized that the one video when he said, how it changed, just like when John DeClerc called me a nerd. The one video that changed my mind about Steve, that he actually has love in his heart for me instead of acting like he hates my guts, because he knows the truth. And it's like, wow, this dude's lying so much, I don't even understand, because I've never been attacked like that. Was when he said, here you go, Robin, here's my face so you can exploit it some more. I love Robin. I mean, I thought for sure you would be here to fix the roof, and like, wow, this dude is straight acting now. Now it's different. So my point being, if there was a King David on YouTube, then, and you watched all of his videos, you would see that he is engaging communication with, first of all, Saul. You would see Saul attacking him. You would see his, flunkies attacking him. You would see someone like, you would just see the engagement with all the other characters in the Bible, whether you know who they are or not. But you would see him talking, communicating, engaging with multiple different YouTube channels. Same thing with Christ. Christ would be like, when you look at Jacob Israel, right? Who reminds me of Barabbas, one of the characters among many others. Also the other twin on John DeClerc's channel, the one that took like 4 years, like Lazarus, like Martha and Mary. So let's say the John DeClerc channel was 3 twins altogether, and that represented Gestus and Decimus and Gestus, and Jesus on the cross. Let's say the John DeClerc channel represented the 3 head symbols. Let's say because it's 888, and then let's just say that Logan Square is the 3 Jonathan Clecks, because there's 2 female and 1 male. But I believe that technically it's the opposite, because the 2 females is really 2 dudes, and then the dude, I don't know if that was really a female, but either way, it's the 3. And then let's just say that that's what when he talks about the thieves on the cross, where it's your evil twin, your good twin, and then the third would be Christ in the middle, that brings everybody together to him. So it's like that third twin becomes one in all 3 in 1 when everybody gets reconciled. And then 3 unclean frogs, and then 3 witches, and then the one eye, all-seeing eye with in the movies, the Clash of the Titans and all that stuff. There's 3. But they're not just that. It's like they're not just those characters. So I've thought of that, and You know, Peter, John, James, it always seems to be the three names. So, with Lazarus being someone like Jacob Israel, because it took a good 4 years, not 2 or 2 days, or what did he say? Like, if you were here, he wouldn't have died. And he's like, well, and then he waited 2 more days, like 2 years later, 2 days, year. And it took 4 years for Jacob Israel to finally come around and take the breath of his twin, take the spirit. He took. It may say the evil twin has taken the breath of the good twin, the breath which is the spirit. But the word taken also means received. So instead of like taking someone's breath by force, you're receiving their breath and having life breathe into you. When you see it as the two become one in the end, and that's the system itself. And it has to happen through the YouTube platform. And the way the kingdom of heaven is at hand is when those things are revealed, and it is the truth. And you're seeing, so again, you would have to see with Christ on YouTube, you would have to see him engaging with multiple people, multiple channels, multiple, and non-stop. So it would be somebody, and that's why when you look at Jacob Israel, he's up, he does a lot. Jonathan Click's up, does a lot of videos. Jacob's moving on up, trying to do them daily now. But at the same time, the Antichrist would be up doing a lot of videos daily also. Not like Matthew daily, but daily. However, Jacob, yeah, he's come after a couple people, Kim Jean, but there's never been any. Here's the difference between his channel and my channel. Well, one of the main differences is that I'll talk about somebody, I'll show their clips, and then not just one time around like Jacob Israel does a one-time shot of Kim Jean and that's it, and then he moves on and, you know, pretends to have a beef with somebody else who's bowing down the knee to Baal in the script world. The difference between everybody else and what I'm doing is that none of my stuff is scripted, and I don't carry a purse, and I'm a man. I was born a male, and I'm staying a male. And I'm a nobody from nowhere. So what I'm doing is I will continuously show you the dialogue between me and whoever else that I'm showing, and I will prove the communication is going back and forth. Even though I'm not directly talking with somebody with literal words that are meant to be, you know, back and forth, as someone would be like, robbing this, robbing that. I mean, I have, you know, with a few people, they would say who they're talking about. But I'm talking about like a, I'm talking about most of the people, like Jonathan Click, I've been talking to in spirit. So there's always that back and forth communication that's being proven, and it's not just a one-time deal. And then even when I come across Robert Breaker, I will hold a conversation with Robert Breaker. I'll answer his questions. I will show you the things I believe he's thinking and saying, and then he'll make reference back to it. So there's a clear dialogue between me and whoever else that it is that I'm showing you on my platform consistently, videos after videos after videos after videos. Unlike others, I mean, I've seen Jonathan Click come after a few people, he'll name drop, even Steve Noon, I think he even mentioned his name at one point. Tyler Mullen mentioned Jacob's name at one point, and Steve Noon as well, but when it comes to David, and when it comes to the gematria entries like Christ or Christ manifest into King David, because King David is the king of earth, but King David manifests himself into Christ as king of earth, king of heaven, or it's as his seed, which is Christ, his son, becomes the king of heaven as his father David is the king on earth. Therefore, it's a dual fulfillment. You have King David on earth, who becomes the king, and then his son, the Christ, becomes king of heaven. Therefore, you have a king of heaven and earth, and it stays in the family, the bloodline of God's chosen vessel. So therefore, when I look at the people on YouTube as the candidates for the King David candidate and the Christ candidate, I would look for the person that engages their conversations with not just one person, and not just at one time, not just a one hit wonder, come at the Kim Jean, Jacob Israel, and then the next video is about aliens and stuff. I'm talking about you find Kim Jean, all of a sudden he does his blowout sermons with all of his other characters, and he's like, and the devil just won't, just leave me alone. When I found them and started my first video of Kim was next of Kim, and then for the next year he was like my focal point, between others, but I really dialed in on Kim Jean and clearly had demonstrated the communication back and forth as just one other YouTube channel, and then finding another handful, dozen or so of other people, and at will at any point in time, whatever it is, even Skip Heitzing it, I would communicate back and forth. But most of the communication between one person would be Jonathan Click. Now, the good Johnny, the bad Johnny, the Christ Johnny, was I talking to Peter, Paul, or Jesus? Like, which one was it? But at all times, at the same time, whoever it is, even if it was three people, but then I'm communicating with three different spirits. And that was one of the things I've been missing. I'm always trying to explain how these characters in the Bible are on the YouTube platform, and I'm just looking for them, is that the main character, who is Christ, and the main character in the Old Testament, who is David, because I believe they're mentioned the most. I believe that they have the most written about him. Old Testament, New Testament. And so when you have somebody claiming to be King David, like Stephen James did over there, well, he also makes a good candidate for Saul in my life. I don't know about him, King David, because I haven't seen him with any kind of dialogue between someone who's attacking him nonstop like King Saul would be attacking David. I seen it the other way around. I seen how him as a King Saul attacking me, and the same way how at times Saul seems to love David, and then, you know, once he plays the lyre and then the music, but that, to me, I'm not lying. I am playing the lyre, which is the music that is, it's music to Saul's ears when he sees time travel and the art museum footage and that kind of stuff, and how it hits me when I just sit there and watch it, because I don't usually have time to sit there and watch my videos that I produce to get the same effect that others may. If you just sit there and all of a sudden I have a video and it appears and then you watch it, because I'm usually just moving on to the next video, I'll watch a little bit here and there, but I can't sit down and just stare at the TV and watch my own productions all the time to get that effect that I would have giving that effect to Saul. But Stephen James playing the lyre, he may have interpreted that as, you know, a lie, like he playing the lyre, being a liar. And then so the same thing with Christ. There would have to be a channel that engages with everybody, is my whole point. Not just one person, not just one time, but over and 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 over again, with multiple people, multiple channels, multiple conversations, being attacked, having a fallout with a bunch of people. So a bunch of people would have to have made videos about a specific person who represents the Christ, and they would attack him and attack him and attack him. And then, but you would have to watch that same channel, and then year after year after year, that same person would just keep doing their videos and just keep rising among the dead, and then eventually at some point would prove time travel. There you go, there's your candidate. That's my conclusion. It has to be somebody that's on YouTube that does all of those things to even be considered as a candidate. No frauds, no fakery, no script, no purse. The true mark would be that they do it for free, and they've done it at least 7 years. In the end, when it's over. And not only that, but they can't, it's not just a, you know, you can't just like talk to people. You have to actually prove the secrets in the world that have been hidden. And that's how Satan's kingdom comes to an end. Because when you reveal the truth, that's what crushes it. It doesn't seem like it, because it's, time is still here and everything's still whatever, it ain't finished. I'm still working back and forth and just whatever it is, it is. But at some point, the reward finally comes, and I don't know exactly what it looks like, the timing of it, how I go about it. You know, Jacob's not going to give me the Powerball number right now, being like his enemy, even though I believe he's just acting just like everybody else, and truly Jacob Israel is just acting, and him and the good Johnny have already reconciled. But he sticks with his character. He's damn good at it. Irritating at times, but in the end, they're in control of this Matrix world, and it's what they say goes. So my job was just to influence their heart.